That's better. Bubba Is You. It's a little video game that's got me thinking very differently about other video games. And I'm going to go into a little bit later why I feel that way, why I'm looking at Mario in a completely different way now. But first, I've got a little bit of a question for you. Who are you? No, don't go answer that just yet. Who are you when you play a video game? Are you Link if you're playing The Legend of Zelda? Are you Mario if you're playing Mario? It's the type of question that it's probably better not to think too hard about. And these other games tend to just kind of beat around the bush with that answer. Question. But Bubba Is You, it sees that bush and it just dives in head first. The very trunk that holds up the Bubba Is You bush is the title. And the title clearly states that Bubba is an object for you to manipulate. And that is disgusting, everyone. No, but seriously, the title clearly states that Bubba is you. But that doesn't mean that you have to be Bubba. And that's the whole kind of hook to this game, and I love that about it. So let's get into what that actually means, and in fact, what this game is in general. It is, to put it technically, not technically, a block pushing game. That's the least technical way of putting it. Now you've probably played these before, whether it be its own dedicated block pushing game, or whether you're playing Pokemon and sliding blocks around on ice and getting extremely frustrated like I did. Saying that Bubba Is You is just a block pushing game is a very derivative way of saying it. It's like saying that the difference between a V6 and a V8 engine is 2 numbers. I know nothing about cars, but I'm going to assume that it's more than 2 numbers. When you pop the hood of this game and have a look what's underneath, you'll notice that everything that's running this is statements. The whole game and everything that's going on is based off of statements that have to be true for something to be happening in the first place. In fact, the only statement that isn't written on the screen that is true is that Bubba can push, or you can push. You. So I gave this example before, and I'm going to give it again here. The example is that the first screen here, it says Rock is push and Bubba is you. And you notice that you push the words around to say Rock is you, all of a sudden, you're the Rock. And then you realize how depressing the game truly is, because Bubba simply returns to the empty husk that he started as before you started controlling him. And that is what I love about this game. It's just completely based off statements. Nothing is true, like I said, unless it's written in a statement. Bubba is not you unless it's written that Bubba is you. You've also probably noticed by now that some words are like blocked and all colored in, and then some words are just the colorful words. That's because there's objects and there's describing words, and they can only be mixed in certain ways. So in other words, you can't describe something and then describe something. So you can't have hot is jump, because what does that even mean? I mean, like, I have a pretty good looking jump, but it's not that hot. But if we change that to object is hot, like Bubba is hot, then we kind of come to realize that Bubba is a sexy little white animal that's maybe a rabbit, dog, or I don't know what else it could possibly be. A cat? Is it a cat? I don't know. Fun fact, the developer Avi actually said it's up to your interpretation. The white dog, animal, rabbit, cat thing doesn't actually have a thing that it is. It is just a thing. It's Bubba. Just to help you and me understand this world a little bit better, I thought of this little jingle inside of my head, and it goes that walls are not walls unless rules are rules. Now what I mean by that is that if there's a wall in the game, it's not actually a wall unless it says wall is stop. You need a rule to be saying that wall will stop you. Otherwise, that wall is just an object of no relevance. It means nothing to you. And this is where Avi, again, the developer of the game, had a really good way of explaining this. He's basically explained it around ice. And I thought this was really neat, and it really kind of shows the direction that his brain went with this game. He basically said that if he put ice into the game, then players would assume, like if I played a game that had ice in it, I'd assume it's ice, it can melt. If I put something hot next to it, it can melt. But the ice in this game, and the way that it works, it can't melt. Without the game actually saying that ice is melt, then it's just another block in the game. And it really, this is where I'm talking about where it makes your brain think differently. Every time a new block gets introduced, every time a new word gets introduced, whether it be and or is, or whether it be actual objects or describing words, every time something new comes into the game, you have to think about it, because just because you're getting new ice into the game doesn't mean it's going to melt. Just because they're putting lava in the game doesn't mean it's going to burn you when you touch it. And I think that's really unique, the way the game plays on that logic, and the way that you have to interpret that logic to figure out these puzzles. And what's most crazy about that is it just puts your brain at constant war with itself, because it wants to interpret things, it wants to understand things as they go into there. It wants to know that if ice is in the game, it is ice. But it's not, and your brain is constantly telling you that it is, it's ice. And so that's where the trick kind of comes in with these puzzles. And that's where I'm wondering how hard he said that there's a fairly good difficulty curve. In other words, like most people should be able to get through to the end, hopefully, depending on your skill level. But this is where the difficulty kind of gets a little bit up to interpretation, because it's up to your brain to adapt. And if your brain really adapts to it and understands the way the logic of the game works, then it's gonna get it. But if your brain is constantly looking at ice, just going, I'm still stuck on the ice, why can't I melt the ice? Then your brain can get stuck really easily. It can happen to anyone. Anyone who even knows how the game works will sit there and go, why? You know? And I mentioned Mario before. This is where it's getting me thinking differently about Mario. Because in this game, in Bubba Is You, flag is win. If it's stated the flag is win, then that wins. But it doesn't have to be the flag. You could have wall is win, and then you can touch a wall, and that's it. You won. Woo! But it can be anything. As long as it says something is win, then that object, when you touch that, so whatever you are, whether you be wall or wall is you, that would be the proper way to say that. If you touch it, then you win. And I love that about this game. But this is where it makes me think differently about Mario. Because at Mario, the flag is win. Flag is win in Mario. When I get to the flag, I now think about the fact there must be some sort of code in that game saying the flag is win. Mario isn't me unless the game says that Mario is me. It's making me feel like I'm a developer. You know the P-switch? When you touch a P-switch, that now says that coins are wall or coins are block. There is code behind all of this that affects the way that every game gets interpreted, and it's making me think about games in that way. And I don't actually like that. It's kind of messing with me. Even Mario Kart is just a game where they turn Bowser is defeat off so that Bowser can't actually hurt you anymore unless he throws the red shell or blue shell at you. Bastard. Anyway, that's what's making the game so interesting to me. A few other things that I can update you on here. There's apparently going to be 150 levels. This is during Nintendo UK's stream of this last time they said that. So that's a lot of levels to kind of get through here. As I said, some of them, they're going to have like the main campaign to kind of get through, but it sounds like there's going to be like a harder mode for you to get through, not harder mode, but harder levels if you really want that challenge, which we'll see how we go, because I'm only up to so much challenge. There's also a world map that RV actually explains that the inspiration for the world map was very much based on Super Mario World, and whenever someone says like something based on Super Mario World, my wallet just comes out and I start placing money on the table. So I don't know why I do that, but it's just a thing that I do. Anyway, the inspiration from Mario World there, I think that's really cool, because basically he's had it so, you know the forest areas in Mario World where like you would just walk into an area and then enter a zone and then all the levels would be in that area. That's kind of the inspiration he's going for here, where there's like sub-zones in areas. Anyway, I'm really liking the look of this game, like visually as well. But it was actually made in a Nordic game jam. So this is basically a 2-day event where they do not just make delicious food products and spreads for 2 days straight. They make equally delicious video games. And this won that game jam. That's how kind of special this game was. And so fortunately, he decided that he wanted to spread that kind of love over the Switch and the Steam stores. And he spent a couple years developing, I think it's about a couple years, I'd have to double check that, into this fantastic product that we're going to be getting hopefully in the next couple of months. He said that it's looking like it's only a couple of months away. It's in for submission now. I know I said this a couple of things ago, but just to reiterate, and we'll see how it goes. Unless it runs into any problems, there's no reason that it shouldn't be there within the next couple of months. Anyway, that is going to do it for today, guys. Sometimes it's very easy to get caught up in all the big games coming out, and sometimes I just like to focus down on these little ones that I think deserve a little bit of a spotlight, and that's what I've done today. This game looks super cool, and it's definitely one that I'm going to be picking up. Anyway, let me know what you think of this game, and Bubba Is You. Let's stop saying this game. And that's going to do it for today. So remember, for great Nintendo entertainment, you can count on me. That was a really weird way of saying the ending. Hey guys, update on the mic situation. Obviously, I've got a new one here. The other one had to be sent away for warranty. It's gonna be like 3 or 4 weeks, and I'm like, okay, I can't do without a mic for that long, so I just had to buy another one. And then the other thing today, doesn't matter when it is, little coasters that you probably saw sitting around the other day. I just thought these were really cool. There's a whole, I can't go through all these, but I just thought these were really cool. You can probably see some still sitting back there. Although I don't know why you'd ever want to use these as coasters, because you'd just ruin them. They'll just, put one drink in there, that's it for them. And 20 seconds is up, so goodbye.